Today on the CTV News at 5, residents in southeastern Alberta dig out from a paralyzing blast of winter. Plus,
What do we want? Kansas!
Lethbridge Care Centre workers are frustrated the province has stepped in to stop strike action. And a controversial ski resort near Invermere gets the green light.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. It may be the first day of spring, but many southeastern Albertans spent the day digging out from a fresh dump of winter weather. Although Monday's blizzard created a mess for many drivers, some people are welcoming the snow. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
Medicine Hat residents are digging out after 25 centimeters of heavy, wet snow hit the area Monday.
Had whiteout conditions up here. The snow was actually coming down faster than we could remove it. Today it's warm, so we're actually able to get caught up on it.
We started again at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we had about 24 pieces of equipment out there, sanders, graders, plows.
City crews worked to clear sidewalks and main roads and will now tackle side streets. They also restored power and water to homes where 1,600 residents were left without it for a few hours Monday night. Outside the city, heavy snow and slick roads made driving dangerous and in some cases impossible. This school bus was abandoned in the ditch near 7 Persons. The town's school is one of several in the region closed for a snow day.
The snow's already starting to melt, and forecasters expect above zero temperatures for the next few days. Last year, rapid snowmelt caused flooding in many parts of the region, but city staff say that's not a concern this year.
It's not flooding that we're concerned about particularly, it's just making it easy for the water to go into the drains.
City staff are asking residents to clear catch basins so melting snow can drain off of the streets. Some southern Albertans say they're glad to have the snow.
It's welcome. It's more hours. It means a lot more hours, so that, bigger paycheck.
It's not a bad thing because it's needed out there for moisture in the land.
Especially for farmers, this late blast of winter is a great start for spring. Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, near Medicine Hat.
Communities east of Medicine Hat were hit even harder. As Bill McFarland reports, the storm meant a sleepover at the Irvine School for a few elementary students.
Through the school day, the snow was falling, the wind howling. The highways closed, but as night came, kids at school faced a scary possibility.
Rural people are used to weather extremities, but it packed a real wallop.
Out of the 375 students at Irvine School, more than 320 live on farms. Some travel more than an hour and a half each way to school.
Originally, it's quite exciting. We had movies going on with the kids, and then the junior highs in the gym playing floor hockey and the like, but then the power went out.
But the road reopened, and by a little after 9 p.m., most of the kids were gone home.
Actually, my friends and I were actually pretty scared because it was our first time to sleep over at the school, and it was really scary.
Do you like winter?
Not really, because you get stuck.
Oh, I'm staying at the kindergarten this one.
But for one happy grade 1 girl, it was the beginning of an adventure of a lifetime.
We're going to move this table over, and then we're going to put some blankets down and make you guys a really nice bed, okay?
I had to stay here, and my mom couldn't pick me up, so I had to stay here for the night.
Wow. And how do you feel about that?
Awesome. I don't even have to brush my teeth.
Her family snowed in on the farm. Olivia said goodnight and gave the phone to her principal.
Excuse me? This phone is for you. Hey.
It takes a little explaining, but soon a teacher starts making a bed, and she's braver without Mom than she was at her last sleepover.
I really missed my mom. I was crying.
There's no tears tonight, just straight to bed, ready to wake up and see what new adventures tomorrow will bring. Bill McFarland, CTV News, Irvine.
Highway 1 east of Medicine Hat is now reopened, but travel isn't recommended. Highway 1 from Dunmore to Gull Lake, Saskatchewan is icy and snow-packed with zero visibility caused by blowing snow and drifting snow. Dory Rossiter, not a bad start to spring.
Yeah, once we got past yesterday and we're into the first full day of spring here today, good news for the folks in Medicine Hat. Things are starting to melt. That's good news. Here we've had a very mild day. The winds have kicked back up. There are still some problem areas in northern Saskatchewan, and we do have some precipitation on the way. It's going to be a real mixed bag week this first week of spring. We'll get some showers, some sun, and even some more snow is possible. I'll give you the details in a couple of minutes.
Okay, Dory, thank you. Well, 2 years in prison. That's the sentence for Graham James, the disgraced hockey coach who repeatedly molested NHL star Theo Fleury and his cousin Todd Holt. James wore a red ski mask to hide part of his face as he arrived at court for sentencing in Winnipeg. Fleury and Holt were abused by James when they played for him in the 1980s and 90s. Prosecutors wanted 6 years in prison. The defense wanted no prison time. And Lethbridge Regional Police have charged a 19-year-old man in connection to a sexual assault dating back to 2009. The charges come after a 7-month investigation by members of the Major Crimes Section. The victim was 14 years old at the time, and the accused can't be named because he was 16 when the alleged attack happened. Well, a group of union employees at a Lethbridge long-term care facility held an information rally on the day that they were supposed to be picketing.
What do we want? Fairness! When do we want it? Now!
The employees at Edith Cavell are upset over the province's decision to step in and end a potential strike at the facility. Edith Cavell is privately owned by BC-based Chantel Management. The Alberta Union of Provincial Employees says workers are paid below the provincial standard. The union served strike notice Friday, and workers had planned to start picketing this morning. Instead, though, the employer informed AUPE that the government had appointed a disputes inquiry board. While the board writes its report, employees can't legally go on strike. The union is calling the move an abuse of authority.
They're angry. I mean, you know, for them to take a decision to go on strike is a very, very difficult decision, but they took it together and in solidarity, and for that to have them, you know, ripped out from underneath them, they're very angry and disappointed. We have to see what the results of the Disputes Inquiry Board are going to be. At the end of the day, the workers get to vote on that, and then they still have the right to strike, but, you know, it's disappointing to them.
We contacted Chantel Management, but our phone calls were not returned. After 21 years of review, the BC government has given the green light for a controversial ski resort project near Invermere. Once it's complete, the Jumbo Glacier Resort would be North America's only year-round glacier-based facility and plans to accommodate up to 700,000 visitors a year. The ski resort will be located in a pristine wilderness area in the Purcell Mountains with access to 2 glaciers. And it's the location that's created so much controversy over the years, especially with environmentalists. The Lethbridge Fish and Game Association says its gun range in North Lethbridge could be reopened as early as tomorrow. The association is still going through terms of a proposed new operating agreement. The range can be reopened as soon as that agreement is signed. Terry Vogt reports.
The new operating agreement includes remote video surveillance equipment that allows city police to monitor activities on the shooting range. Other safety measures include closing the 400-yard rifle range, reducing the number of rifle target positions, improving one of the ricochet traps, and banning steel core ammunition.
The council has given its approval to open based on these new conditions, and there are many of them, but they're all conditions that the Fish and Game Association suggested as desirable improvements.
Under the agreement, the association will also work with the city to raise awareness and provide public education aimed at curbing illegal or dangerous shooting outside the range.
We've been involved in education outside the shooting community for years. This really publicizes that and really publicizes the fact that the range is a safe alternative to shooting out there on the acreage or on the farm. Down at the range will be a safer alternative by far.
One thing that isn't included in the agreement is a firm deadline for relocating the range, something all parties agree needs to happen eventually. Some councillors felt a deadline would have provided real incentive to make it happen.
There is plenty of goodwill. I'm just I'm not convinced that's enough to motivate people for the, as I continue to point out, during council debates, the rather monumental task that is involved in fundraising and in finding a location.
The important thing is the study. Once we get the study completed, we'll have a lot of facts. It was really quite scary looking at a deadline without understanding the actual costs or the actual implications of a range move.
The Fish and Game Association says it now has the time it needs to develop a workable strategy for moving the range. Terry Vogt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
Once again, Lethbridge is ranked one of the best places to live in Canada. According to Money Sense magazine, the city ranks 25th out of 190 cities. That's down a few spots from last year's 19th holding, but 10 more cities were added to this year's list. Lethbridge is also ranked 7th when it comes to finding a job and then 11th for raising kids. And those wanting their Tim Hortons fix in Taber now have a place to go. The Timmy's is operating out of this mobile trailer for the time being. The main restaurant has been closed since March 7th when a pickup truck was rammed through its southeast corner. The trailer doesn't have a full menu but is serving some donuts, muffins, sandwiches and coffee 24 hours a day. Staff aren't sure when the restaurant will reopen. The case against one of the men charged in relation to the incident, Jake Crone, was before the courts today. It was put over until April 3rd. Today is the last day to vote for the Crow's Nest Pass in the Small Town Saturday Night Contest. The pass has been chosen as one of the top 10 communities for the contest, which is sponsored by Big Valley Jamboree and Travel Alberta. Results of online voting determines which community gets to host a mini Big Valley Jamboree. People across southern Alberta are being urged to go online and vote. You can do that by logging on to bigvalleyjamboree.com and clicking on the link "Voting closes at midnight." A Lethbridge woman is turning 100 years old today, and she's showing no signs of slowing down.
Happy birthday to you.
Grace Kennedy is celebrating her milestone birthday with family, friends, and of course some birthday cake. Grace says one of her first memories is seeing a light bulb go on for the first time when her family got electric power. She was just 5 years old at the time. The birthday girl says the secret to a long life is to go with the flow, enjoy life, and always look on the bright side.
Well, it's very, very exciting to have a 100th birthday. I've never had one before. I've just enjoyed life. I've had a nice family, and I think you just take things as they are and don't get too excited about anything. I've never had anything as exciting as this.
Happy birthday, Grace. Grace has 2 daughters, 11 grandchildren, 21 great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren. And to the markets now, where there were down arrows across the board. Here are the closing numbers.